Hello, how are you? That's good. I'm Red, and today I'm going to be reading some r/I do work here lady. Okie dokie, let's get going with our first story. Not who you expected to see at the front of the class? I'm one of those people who can't sit still, and I have a couple of jobs. I started off in the emergency services, but drifted into IT. Once in IT, I did a part-time degree in computing and then got a second job teaching part-time at the university where I got my bachelor's. I went on to get a master's in education alongside my teaching. Now I work part-time for my IT employer and work teaching a few online and face-to-face courses at the university. The university also offers short courses in some technology topics, which I also teach as I have instructor certifications from the various vendors. This sort of sets the scene. Last year, the company I work for was taken over and we had a new management team arrive. Most of the team are okay and will ask about things they're unsure of, apart from one who has a really inflated opinion of himself. We haven't really had much to do with each other, but he has seen me in meetings and I've had some negative feedback on the project work I've done, which can be classed as someone flexing their muscles. You know, I suppose this does work, but I would have done X, Y, or Z instead. I discovered he was not really interested in those lower down the food chain, so he didn't do a great deal of due diligence on who he's working with. A month or so back, we were on a conference call, and I don't have my video turned on for the Teams meeting, just an avatar. In the middle of the meeting, it was announced that there would be training on some of the new hardware we were deploying and that the sessions would be run by the university IT chat. I already knew all about this and had prepared a little overview of what would be taught. Before I got a chance to comment, our manager chipped in. I can't see the point of this. What can they teach us at a university? We have tech guys here doing the work. Those who can't do, teach. Not the wisest comment. Roll forward a couple of weeks, and I'm standing in the front of my classroom at the university with the faculty dean. My PowerPoint slides are ready to go and the class starts arriving. In walks the manager and he immediately recognizes me and starts to walk over, asking why I was there as I wasn't booked for this course. The dean asks him to take a seat as the class will begin shortly. The manager looks a little puzzled but takes a seat. One or two others from the day job walk in and there are a few amused looks passed between them. They have figured out something the manager hasn't. The clock hits the top of the hour and the course officially starts. The dean turns to the class and starts his introduction. Hello and welcome to the course. I'm the faculty dean and I would like to say hi and introduce you to OP, who is your tutor for this course. The look on the face of the manager made my day. I am taking great pleasure in pointing out all the places he has gone wrong in his assignments, usually along the lines of, yes, this approach would work, but it's much more efficient to do X, Y, or Z, especially as that is the accepted best practice for this technology. Hey guys, now's a really good time to click the thumbs up button to like this video. When you're told you aren't the security guard by someone claiming they are instead. So I'm a mall guard. I'm the one who bans you when you get caught shoplifting and tells you that, no, you can't ride mountain bikes in the mall. This happened about a week ago. I was pulling a 17-hour shift that included the overnight. The mall is guarded 24/7. About 11 p.m, I was doing a patrol around the inside of the building. We had some workmen doing maintenance work in one of the food court restaurants and I had to keep an eye on them as well as my usual rounds. Walking into the food court, I was waved over by the night janitor. There were 2 cops with him. The only way in at that point was through a back entrance we had left open for the workmen. We've had some ongoing issues with the local department and I was somewhat annoyed to see them just coming in again without trying to contact security first. But whatever. The police officer asked me about a silver truck with a light on the top, like a security truck, driving around the property. They knew it wasn't one of our security trucks, which are white. They also have large decals on the side that are hard to miss. I had no clue what they were talking about. I hadn't been outside in the last hour, so as soon as they left, I immediately double-checked that the mall was secure. It's an important part of my job to make sure no unauthorized vehicles or individuals are in the mall parking lot overnight, so after that I headed out. I found the truck quickly. I'd have called it a dark grey rather than silver, but whatever. When I got up to the truck, there was a company name I'd never heard of. The name underneath that I assumed was the name of the guard himself and a phone number. I won't give any more details than that, for obvious reasons. However, the security company was one I had never heard of and was in no way associated with the mall. I asked him if I could help him, and the other guard just lobbed the exact same question back at me. I informed him that I was mall security and he was on private property and that I needed him to leave. The other guard told me that he in fact was security, which was a bit confusing to say the least. I again identified myself as mall security and informed the man that if he didn't leave the premises, I would call the police. The other guard responded, insisting he was going to call the police and have me removed from the property for trespassing. At no time did he identify himself or give any reason for his presence on the property beyond insisting that he was security. He was extremely annoyed by my questioning and became increasingly combative and aggressive in his tone. He did not, however, at any time exit his vehicle, and I kept well back for obvious reasons. I'll pause here to say that I'm female and on the short side. People generally judge me as being in my late 20s, although I'm a good bit older. This guy was a large man who I put in his late 30s or early 40s. So while he didn't exactly say, "Run along little girl," and leave security to men, it was heavily implied by his tone and attitude. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. So I called the police. It was about midnight at this point, but procedure is procedure. So as soon as I got off the phone with dispatch, I had to call first my direct boss and then the general manager to inform them of the situation. Neither of them knew why some guy from another security company would be there. The general manager, who we'll call Dave for the purposes of this narrative, said he wanted the guy off the property. The other guard shouted something I couldn't understand at me while I was on the phone with Dave. Though the tone was aggressive, Dave could hear him yelling over the phone and said, "Stay well back." I agreed entirely. By the time I got off the phone, the other guard had rolled his window up again and appeared to be on the phone himself. The police officer called me at this point. He asked if it was about the truck they had told me about. When I confirmed this, he told me that they had, and I quote, "caught up" to the driver and that he had claimed to be private security hired by one of our anchor stores to watch it overnight. I called Dave with the information and also texted him the number on the truck. Calling the company, Dave was told that the store had indeed hired private security, without getting permission or even bothering to inform us. Before I go further, yes, the store in question rents their individual space. If they had hired a guard to be within that space, I would have had nothing to say about it, and neither would the mall. This isn't the case. In fact, the guard they hired isn't allowed inside their store. He was hired to watch it from outside on property that is the mall's, not the store's. Individual stores are not permitted to use mall property beyond their rented space without prior authorization. It's in their contracts. After speaking to the company, Dave called me back. He said that the whole thing would need to be sorted out in the morning, but for that night the guard could stay. However, it was on sufferance that he was to remain in his vehicle at all times and stay only in the parking lot directly by the store, not driving around the whole mall parking lot like the cops had seen him doing. I attempted to relay these instructions to the other guard. Although he did briefly roll down his window, he continued to refuse to listen to anything I said. When I tried to speak to him, he talked right over me very loudly, saying he just talked to his boss and everything was fine, so I was to run along. He seemed to like that phrase. I tried to insist that I needed him to listen to me, but he objected, saying that he didn't have to listen to anything I said. When I tried again, he just started talking even louder to drown me out, saying he didn't have to listen to me. Then he rolled up his window again and refused point blank to acknowledge my presence. In the end, I had to call the police officer back, and ask them to inform the guy of Dave's instructions. In the morning, there was a huge hullabaloo about it. I don't know all the details, but the store manager had a long meeting with Dave. Also, a formal complaint was issued with the company in regards to their guy. A couple of days later, I was asked by someone higher up in their company to go through exactly what had happened with her. Afterwards, she apologized profusely, and we've been told that the guard in question would be dealt with, whatever that means. We never saw that guard again. Some other guard is currently sitting out in the parking lot watching the store. I'll be honest with you though, I don't think the other guard actually believed that I was security. It was chilly, it being October, so I'd thrown on a hoodie over my uniform. Still, when someone says they are security, involves the mall general manager and the police because you were trespassing, they might just be who they say they are. I'm sure you enjoyed that r/I do work here lady, so make sure to like the video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for listening to this Read by Red story. Have a great day.